Hi guys, welcome back to the Nordic Watch channel. Today a quick unboxing and first impressions video of the third generation Orient M-Force. This watch was sent in to me for review very kindly, and after some ifs and buts I actually get to keep this watch also, so I guess that makes this sponsored content. I think I have to put some kind of a tick some box to indicate that it is sponsored, but that being said, make no mistake, I have no obligation whatsoever to say anything positive about this watch. I have complete integrity in, I can speak my mind and tell you if I don't like this watch. So just so you know and we are clear about that, let's get into this box. So as you can see, we have a nice Orient M-Force branded specific box for this watch. It's this kind of a rubbery feeling material, a little bit, not your basic cardboard, pretty nice. And there we have the watch. As you can see right off the bat, a really rugged looking watch. And this is the reference RA-AC0L01B00B. Just so you know, right off the bat, I have to say that this watch is a beast in its size and weight. I sized it up for my wrist, but with all the links included, this thing weighs in at 205 grams, so it's a whopping weight for a watch. It's the heaviest watch I've ever had. So 205 grams makes this a really hefty watch. That weight consists of a diameter of 45 millimeters, 47 if you include this huge crown guard here. Then we have a lug-to-lug of 52 millimeters to that really nicely shaped case. Only 13.2 millimeters thick, so not the thickest watch, which is nice. And also nicely curved lugs here to make it sit nicely on the wrist. And then we have a 20 millimeter lug width to that nicely integrated bracelet. So somewhat in the same size category as the Seiko Sumo, which I recently reviewed. Still, I think something about this watch makes it a bit more bulky and robust feeling than the Seiko Sumo. The Sumo had maybe more fancy curved forms and stuff like that, and this is just a big watch, and it's somewhat bulky, and but I still do like it. The M-Force branding on this watch stands for 3 M's actually. So those M's are mechanical, massive, and maverick. Maverick standing for something that is kind of like unique or a pioneer in something. And you can't argue that this watch doesn't have a unique look to it. So I think those 3 M's are fulfilled really nicely with this watch. So this is an ISO certified real diver, which you can tell by the diver's 200 meters branding on the dial there. Let's talk a little about the specs before I go into the price. So you get a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating. You get Orient in-house F6727 caliber movement, which is hacking, hand winding, has 40 hours of power reserve, really robust powerhouse movement. You get a nice solid link bracelet with solid end links actually, but stamped clasp nonetheless. Not that that means that it's a bad clasp, but it is not a milk clasp which you would like to see, but you can't get everything at this price point. And we do have a diver's extension similar to the one on the Seiko Sumo. The bracelet links are interesting on this one. It said on their site that they have short links, which is true, and that this adds to the comfort of the bracelet, which it is a comfy bracelet, I have to say. Clasp has 4 micro adjustment positions, so that's plenty enough to get a good fit. Also drilled lug holes to make it easier to switch the strap. Now, the specs being said, the price for this watch retails at around $650 but after doing some research, I found out that you can get this for around $300 to $400, maybe even under $300 or euros. I'll put some Amazon affiliate links down below if you feel like getting one and you want to help the channel out without paying anything extra. But 300 to 400 euros or dollars, and those specs are phenomenal in my opinion for that price category. Comparing to, for example, the Seiko Sumo, which retailed at almost 900 US dollars, and the specs were actually pretty much the same. You also get this really nice 120 click unidirectional bezel, as you might expect on a diver. Kind of ratchety and loud action on the bezel, but I quite like it. Really positive action, and it feels robust and good quality. Speaking of the bezel, I actually really like it that there's no bezel insert here. It is a piece of steel which is just engraved with these markings that are painted white. Really also like the font that they used for these markings, especially the zeros which are crossed over like that. Combined with the bright yellow seconds hand, that really reminds me of something like a construction site, or I don't know what it is with the zeros, but that really reminds me of some construction tools or warning signs or stuff like that. So really cool little detail. The dial is pretty much matte black with embossed indices which give it a nice three-dimensional look, and we have a chapter ring with minute markings there. Seems to line up pretty nicely, and a nicely integrated date wheel also, or date window I should say. I really like how that frame, kind of a white frame around that date window, makes that window really match with the 9 o'clock index and gives it an overall pleasing aesthetic to my eye. And unsurprisingly, this thing lights up like an absolute torch. You could probably use this almost as a flashlight. Typical Orient and Seiko quality with the lume. I really quite like the skeletonized hands on this watch. Overall, the shape of the hands is great and matches the aesthetic of the watch, and they really bring a nice kind of a deeper look in the dial. You can see the text poking out there underneath the minutes hand. Let's unscrew this crown, which we of course have a screw down crown on a diver. I'll just show you a funny characteristic with these hands. Let's let the seconds hand slide. So if we align the minutes and hour hand like this, it's actually quite disorienting if you just happen to glance at this watch and see the hands aligned like that. You can of course still read it because you do see the hour hand poking out there from underneath, but the counterbalance on this minutes hand is pretty long and it's painted black, so it kind of covers the hour hand a little bit. So that could be disorienting, but okay, that's not going to happen very often, and it, of course, you get used to everything. Overall, really do like these hands. The case is nicely shaped, as I already mentioned. This really reminds me of the case of the Oris Aquis, which I have also reviewed on the channel. We have vertical brushing and really nice edges, or it's kind of a rounded shape, but still everything looks really sharp and nice. The lugs have brushing on top and a little bit of a polished edge there. The crown is signed with the Orient logo, and the case back is somewhat boring, as actually pretty often the case with Orients. Just your polished case back looks really standard and branded Orient M-Force. Nothing special about the case back. These crown guards are really what stands out with this watch. I'm not really sure how I feel about them yet. To my understanding, you can unscrew those screws and take it off. And I'm not sure, but I don't think that will compromise its specs or anything. So might be giving that a try in the full review, which I will be making. Just a quick size comparison with the Seiko 5KX, or well, it's the same size as the Seiko SKX, so just to give you an idea. And as you can see, this M-Force just dwarfs the 5KX pretty much, and this is no small watch, make no mistake. The M-Force just overpowers it with its size. Let's put it on the wrist. So I have a 6.5-inch wrist, so this will undoubtedly sit large on my wrist. But first time putting this on, I was really surprised by how comfortable it was and actually how good it looked. I was expecting it to look way oversized, and this will look especially large on camera, and it is a bit large for my taste, but still it's by no means too large to wear, especially if I would be wearing a hoodie or something with a sleeve coming up to the watch. I will say that it is a bit top heavy for me, so if I move my hand around, it feels like the weight of the watch is somewhat pulling my hand with it. So it being such a heavy watch, it does have some inertia, but still quite a positive surprise. I was almost scared of putting this on my wrist. All in all, a pretty positive experience. That pretty much wraps it up for my unboxing and first impressions of this Orient M-Force. I will be making a full review, even though this turned out to be somewhat of a review already, but maybe in the upcoming weeks or months. If you like this video, give it a like. If you have any questions, drop them down below. I always answer my questions. Go check me out on Instagram if you're interested, at Nordic Watch Channel, and go check out my channel otherwise too, and see if you find any other interesting watch related content. Anyways, that's it for this video. See you in the next one. Bye bye.